This is a show by a Black creative having conversations with other Black creatives about the creative stuff we create. Welcome to By Black Design. Welcome to this episode of By Black Design. I'm your host, Nicole Denise, and here we talk about all things created, curated, and powered by Black design. So today's guest is a mother, wife, creative badass, and CEO of Leading with Boldness Design Studio. As a Black creative, she began LWB Design Studio to uplift, encourage, and educate women on the power of design in business. Through her journey, she has helped brands connect with their tribes and elevate their visual identity. And she uses her design skills, knowledge, and experience to produce the dreams her clients envision. Please welcome to the show, Latashia Benjamin Davis. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm so happy to have you here.
I'm happy to be here.
We virtually met, so I was like, it's so good to finally see somebody in person.
Right.
And plus, I know your work, so I'm happy and excited to get to know you.
Thank you. Yes, definitely.
So, like I said, this show is basically about like me having these conversations with Black creatives just to kind of see, the inner workings of our minds and our process and things like that, and to kind of share that journey with other people. Okay? So, the first question I always like to ask everybody is, when did you know you were a creative? Like, let's go all the way back to the beginning, to the origin.
Oh my gosh.
What are your earliest memories of being creative?
Like when I was 4. It was just so early. I remember being in elementary school, and my mom, she wanted me to like do music, and I was with my music teacher, and she gave me this binder like to write music in, and I was sitting there drawing and scribbling and all kind of stuff. And then when I came back, she was like, I didn't give you this to write and draw in, I gave you this to write music. And I knew then like music was not where it was for me. It was not where it was for me at all.
Okay, what were you drawing? Do you remember?
I think at that time I was just drawing people, just sketches of different things. It was just like random doodles. Okay. You know how you be doodling and just, not really have a set thing in mind, but just going where the mind flows.
Gotcha. So after I say your earliest memory, I like to go to like around the age like 15, 16.
Oh, 15, 16.
Where you're kind of growing into yourself and you're trying to figure out your identity. What would you say your creative status was then? Like, how were you creatively at that age?
So in high school, I went to Inlet. Okay. So we had like a commercial art program.
Yes.
So actually I did dual enrollment.
Okay.
So I enrolled in college like early, about like 2 years early. I think I was around like 17, 16. Okay. So I already knew graphic design was my passion. I had already been looking into it. Yeah. My teacher actually was the one who was like, okay, this is graphic design. This is what it is. Wow. So how were your parents, were they not protected, but were they supportive of your dream to be a graphic designer, or? Because arts is sometimes looked down upon. That's why I'm asking. So. Right, definitely. I definitely understand. My parents have always been supportive of me, and no matter what I wanted to do. So I never had that experience where my parents looked down on anything like that as far as like my career or what I wanted to do in general.
Okay, that's awesome. Are you the only child, or
no?
You have siblings?
Yeah, I do have siblings. Okay. I have one brother. I had one sister. She passed away.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, she passed away when she was really young.
Oh, okay.
But I do have a daughter now.
Oh, yes. New mother.
Yes, I'm a new mommy. My daughter's almost 2. She'll be 2 in the end of December.
Okay. That is awesome. Can you remember any of your early like creative mentors, like people you looked up to as you were coming into your creativity?
Let's see. I know when I was in college, I had one professor, Danielle Mitchell. Maybe she'll watch this.
Hey, Danielle.
Hey. Maybe that was, I think, my first year of college, but she was just always really supportive, and I felt like because of her age, she was around, I think she was like 30s, I'm not sure, 20s, late 20s, but she was working in the field, so that actually brought a lot of knowledge and a lot of space, like, okay, I can definitely do this as a career.
Okay, so in the graphic design field is what she was working in?
Right, yes.
Okay, and so I have here that you went to Palm Beach State College, so that's where you got your graphic design degree from?
Yes.
Okay, what was your experience like in college? Did you get around other creatives, or you nod your head? This sounds like it's gonna be bad. We're ready for the story.
No. It's not bad, but definitely at Palm Beach State. I don't want to knock Palm Beach State now because I went a few years ago, a while ago. Most of the professors I had were older, so they weren't in the industry currently. So there is a difference between being in the industry, actually working, versus second, knowledge from
so theoretical
outdated.
versus actually being in the field.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's definitely different. Like once you come out into an entrepreneurship space and just a design space in general, that work environment versus the school environment is totally different.
Right. So was your goal while you were getting your degree to become an entrepreneur, or were you looking to go work for a firm or agency? What was your goal when you were in school?
Initially it was just to work for a firm.
Okay.
And then I did work for a graphic design firm, a marketing firm.
Okay.
And then it slowly turned into entrepreneurship.
Okay. So what changed? What changed from the firm to entrepreneurship?
the money
Really?
The money did change, but no, honestly, when I was working at the graphic design firm, I was really burnt out. I was working on a lot of projects, a lot of different things, just and at the time when I first started, I was enrolled as a junior graphic designer.
Okay.
And the senior head who was supposed to be training me, he actually left 2 weeks after he had a mental breakdown.
Oh wow! From the job?
From the job. From the job. It's definitely a stressful job, but it's a really good group of people and individuals. Don't get me wrong, that environment is definitely a positive environment working, but as far as the work and the workload, it can definitely be stressful.
Wow.
Yes.
So now you're a junior graphic designer having to take on basically senior responsibilities.
Yes.
What were some of your day-to-day tasks as a graphic designer, just so people can, if they're interested in going into an agency, what would that look like?
For me, it was basically project management. I suddenly had to take over all the projects. So we worked with a lot of companies that needed signage, print signage.
Okay.
A lot of vehicle wraps. Just overall marketing and developing content for brands that were already existing.
Okay. So now you switch over. How long were you there before you went to entrepreneurship?
I was at that job about 3 years.
3 years?
3 years.
So what did that entrepreneurship transition look like? Did you automatically have clients from your previous? How did you acquire your clients? What was that process?
Gotcha. So I was working in between my job. So I just started it, and it's actually crazy because I didn't know I was starting a business. I didn't know. I was one of those. I didn't plan it. I didn't do nothing. I was just okay, maybe I'm just gonna take on some extra work. And then now I'm just getting to the point where I'm okay, you know what? I need to really solidify myself and be in this position of entrepreneurship.
Got you. So you're more freelancing and taking on some things on the side, and then those people kind of got used to working with you. Okay, very cool. So I'm gonna come back to your entrepreneurship, but I kind of want to talk about your creative process.
Okay.
When you get an idea, so from the ideation stage to finished product, what does that look like generally for you?
Ooh.
Your creative process.
So initially, if I do have an idea, I'm a writer, so I like to write out things and plan out things. I love just doing things by hand. Okay. But basically it's just I take an idea and then say a logo, for example. When I'm on Illustrator, I'll probably draw the logo out, transfer it to the computer, and then just create multiple drawings, variations of it.
Okay. So you're more of a sketcher first, and then you take it to the digital.
It depending on what I'm working with. If I'm working with a text logo, sometimes I won't, sketch. I'll just go through different fonts and then things like that.
Okay. You mentioned in your bio that you sent me that women in business became your focus as far as like who you wanted to do business with or do business for. Why women in business? Why was that so important to you?
Well, that's important to me because I feel like in the Black community, graphic design and just design in general is really, really lacking, especially for like young girls. I feel like there's not a place or avenue, a community for that. So I definitely want to provide women in business, women entrepreneurs, a space where they can actually grow, develop, and then have a support system around them.
I love that. And I think it's very similar to why I started Indent Media as well, because I saw this like void in Black graphic design and media and publishing, that it didn't stand up to the quality of like mainstream media.
Right.
You know, and I found another thing that kind of rubbed me the wrong way in a lot of ways was that a lot of people were using a lot of white imaging or images for. First of all, it's kind of hard to find Black images. It's getting better now over the years. It's gotten better. But when I first started, because I think I'm 8 years in. Goodness gracious.
You were OG.
Flies. Yeah, if you want to say that. Nearly a decade. Yes. That's wild. But I was finding that a lot of people were kind of just having to use that, and then you don't realize that they're a Black business. So that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And I was like, no, we can still use Black images and still attract everybody that we want to attract. So it was just one of those kind of, it started off as a passion project, but then it gravitated into something bigger than me.
And I definitely understand where you're coming from because I interviewed for a job. This was a while ago. And in the interview process, I brought my portfolio. I let the lady look at it and everything. And she was a white lady. And she's like, I don't want to offend you, but your designs are urban. So I was offended. I was in my mind, I was just so upset because I felt like, the work that I was doing was of quality enough for, this is one of my first jobs that I was trying to get. But you definitely have a difference. I don't know if you're on Facebook a lot. So people who are trying to get into the industry, there is like a certain standard for design.
What would you say that is though? Because I think I want to hear your opinion on it.
Right, definitely. Yeah. I know like a lot of people when they first start, like the glitter logos, like the clip art logos, and a lot of people are passing those off as design. Or I've seen a lot of different stuff.
Of course.
But it's a process. Design is a process. And it's something that I take serious. Yeah. So it's when I do see things like that, a lot of people are just like designing in Canva, which you can design in Canva. Look, don't come for me, please.
Canva don't come for me. But I understand where you're coming from.
Don't come for me.
I got you.
Because people will fight you about Canva.
Oh yeah, they want to tussle.
Tussle about Canva. But I'm just saying, just for like design, there's like a professional quality. And then there is like things that you see like the glitter logos, the clip art logos. I think I've seen like a logo with like different elements that shouldn't be there. Pretty
very
much.
Busy.
Yeah, very busy.
So now I'm curious now. So when you presented your portfolio to this particular young lady or older woman, I know what her age was. Did you have those elements like glitter?
Yeah.
You had glitter?
I didn't have glitter, but I did have like a cartoon logo in there.
Okay.
I did have like a cartoon logo in there, and their style was more modern and contemporary.
Okay.
So definitely it was like, and it's also about finding your tribe and finding the people that, gravitate towards the design that you're doing.
Right. Because I'm very big on... First of all, urban has been used in a negative connotation in a lot of ways. Now I understand that urban is not a negative thing to me. I don't see it. Even the word ghetto, I don't see it as a negative thing because it still informs and pushes culture forward, in a lot of ways. So I guess it's going to lead me to my next question. Like, now that you're in business for yourself, like how does culture, race, and or spirituality inform your creative work, if at all?
Ooh, okay. Wow, that's a big question.
Yeah.
Well, I know my spirituality. I believe in God, so I put God first in my life, and foremost. So definitely praying helps me gravitate and center myself. around my designs. And now I'm getting into the point where I pray before I get into like a client interview process and this different things. So that way I consider myself and see, okay, is this person going to be good for me? Is this opportunity going to benefit me and not drain me or hurt me? Because that is the draining process.
Who we going to talk about creative burnout and being drained by clients? It's the same reason why I closed my business down. Well, the graphic design part. I'm an occasional graphic designer now, but yeah, I definitely had to close that. But before we get into that, I wanted to know, are there any through lines or themes or motifs that like kind of string all your work together? Would you say?
No, not really, because I've worked with so many different companies that have different missions, different goals. So I can't say no.
So what do you look for in the clients that you choose?
Now that I know, I do a process now, but initially just that they're passionate, that they are willing to invest in their business, that they can afford the services, that they're willing to be coachable. And listen to my advice, listen to what the advice and knowledge that I'm giving them, and actually take that advice. Okay. So I think those are the three main things: to be coachable, the aspect of being able to invest in your business, so you know that you're serious about this,
right? So monetary, they have to have the.
Well, just as like they don't have to have it, because I look at people's circumstances as well. Okay. But just for the fact of, are you willing to?
Oh, okay. I got you. So
let's say
I'm trying to choose. Go ahead. I want to make sure I'm understanding.
So
what
let's
you're
say the amount was like $2,000. Okay. Are you willing to invest $2,000 in your business? And they say yes, but say they only have like $2,000, and I'm like, well, if you only have $2,000, then we can work a package for like $1,500 or something like that. Okay. But you get what I'm saying? It's not.
They have something, right? Okay, because I have learned just being in business, cutting deals. Yeah, those become the worst clients. Always.
They do. Sometimes they definitely do. I don't do that as much, but like I said, it just depends on the person. Okay. I know a client that I worked for a long time. I usually do that with her just because I have a relationship with her.
Once you build a rapport.
But newer people, now that I'm learning, like you said, I kind of keep it like, no, this is what it is, and let that be.
Because, see, the thing is, what you learn is that, for me, I know you're not pulling these numbers out of the air. I don't know how you create your pricing, but I'm sure you're studying the industry. You're seeing what the norms are for certain things, and if I'm a competitively priced, that's my price, Because exactly. I always tell people, like, you can't go inside of a Target and argue about a price.
Yeah, you can.
You can go to Walmart because they're usually a little bit cheaper. Yeah. But then you can't want Target quality.
Exactly. So you can't.
Yeah. So I just think that's very interesting. And for Black women specifically, I want us to, like, stop shying away from the numbers that we really want, from the price that we really want, because I look at white men, and a lot of times, sometimes mediocre white men, they're like, they ask for the highest price point and don't care.
Don't care.
And I feel like we should take that on.
Yeah, we definitely should. And I had to start getting into that mindset of, okay, I need to price my services at what I feel like is the industry standard.
Yes. And the value that you're providing. So industry standard plus the value you're providing. I say then add tax on it,
Exactly. So I definitely agree with that. Yeah. And I had to get into that mindset because at first I was charging so low for a logo, so low for website designs. I think I charged like $50 for a logo. Oh, yeah. I had bumped my head on something.
No, I get it. Listen, we all start somewhere at some number that we pull out. But then I remember I was reading this book. I think it was You're a Badass at Making Money. And she was like, when I think one of her coaches told her, the lady who wrote the book, Jen, I can't think of her last name. She challenged her. She said, what's the number that scares you to charge? So whatever the number was, we'll say $1,500. She was like, okay, double that and ask for it. So ask for $3,000. So it's just like, it helps you get over that fear. And then when she realized that the person was like, oh, okay, and then just wrote the check. Right. That's when you start understanding value versus, your fears versus the numbers. Like the numbers don't really mean something. They mean something to you, but if you're providing a certain value for a person and you've shown them what you can provide,
they'll pay anything.
Exactly.
Look what people pay for Chanel bags, just for example. If they feel like it's a certain value, I think the bags are ugly. Just as my personal opinion. Don't come for me in the comments. Don't at me. But I'm just saying, $5,000 for a bag. If that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. You know. So yeah. So I'm saying you could price your things how you want to price them.
Exactly.
I want to kind of go to motherhood and being a wife. Like, has that affected your creativity or your creative process? Oh goodness, you look stressed when I asked that question. Oh goodness, you can answer that how you want to then.
Oh Lord. I say being a mom it's definitely a learning experience.
Okay.
But it's a rewarding experience too. But as far as my creative process, I remember like a few days ago when I was working, my daughter literally laid her entire body on top of the laptop. Like her entire body and rolled on it. I said, oh my God.
She wanted your attention, not what you were doing.
She's like, this does not matter. Oh my goodness. But I think I'm getting to a point where I have to really focus on time management. Just for like being a mom and being a wife, those two roles are really important. And then just having a time management schedule to focus and time everything out, definitely helps with the creative process.
Okay. Now, I will say this. I know I don't have any of those titles. I'm not a mother and I'm not a wife. But time management still can be tough for anybody, especially a creative, because we're creative. There's always ideas popping in our heads, and we're like, but I want to do this, but I want to do this, and this inspired me. Ooh, look, a squirrel, and then just keeping that. I don't want to say under wraps because I don't want to quell the creativity, but it's more like you said, time management.
Yeah.
Have
definitely.
you found tools in time management that have helped, or you still looking? Because we can put out a.
I'm still
y'all
looking.
Send us some time
send
management.
me some time management things. But project systems like Monday, project systems do help.
Okay.
But as far as me, I just have ideas all the time, so my mind is like always constantly going. And my husband would be like, "Why are you still up at 1:00 in the morning for?" And I'm like, "Because I'm working. I have an idea."
Yeah. I get it. The creative mind doesn't shut off. It's always creative.
It's always going.
So I'm going to nerd out for just a second with you because you're the first person that's actually a graphic designer that came in here. Everybody else like a photographer or a visual artist, like painters, animators, things like that. So I want to talk typography because I'm really big into fonts. I don't know if you're into fonts and things like that. I am into fonts. So do you have a favorite font? Because I'm always looking for new fonts that you...
Oh, girl, I have to send you a list.
Okay.
I have to send you a list.
Okay. Because I was like...
What's your favorite font?
So sans serif, I like Avenir. I think it's the name of it. Avenir because it's clean. The... Not boldness. What do you call it? The thickness of it can be changed and stuff like that. I like that. Script.
Different weights,
Weights. That's what the word I'm looking for. Thank you. And then... let me see, as far as scripts, everybody was killing Scriptina for years, and I was just like, y'all need to let that go. Yeah. I saw that on everything.
Yeah. You know, it's one particular script font that everybody uses, and then it kind of goes away, and then it's a new popular one.
Yeah, I can't think of a script off the top of my head, but yeah, I just like new fonts. Like fonts, I think changed the game.
See, that's why I don't have no money now, because I be spending
your money on fonts. You have to get the bundles, but like monthly packages. Like I don't know if you use like
Creative Market
or Envato.
I like Envato. I like Creative Market. Font Squirrel. I sometimes Font Squirrel, but
and the font you can get free fonts and stuff like that.
Yeah, you can get free fonts on the font. You can actually get fonts on Adobe. Adobe Stock and Adobe Typekit. Yeah. But I like making my own fonts. I just started getting into that. Yeah.
I don't even know how to begin. How do you start that process? How do you make a font? You sketching it out first?
Yeah, you just really sketch it out first. But I'm still new at that, so don't quote me on that.
No. Yeah. Because now I'm thinking in my head. So once you sketch it out, you could just drop it into like Illustrator and kind of like play with the lines. Or...
Yeah, so there you can fix it up, but there is like a system. I forgot the name of it. I gotta get back to you, but you basically, once you get done like fixing it, and you can just put it into a system, and it'll automatically transform it into like where you can type.
Oh,
so I have to get that too. I don't remember what it was.
In that.
Yeah, I don't remember what it was.
My alley. Okay.
But I did use it before.
That's cool. That sounds really cool. All right, so now I want to kind of talk about this, what people call creative block, or you know.
Yeah.
I know Stephen Pressfield likes to call it resistance. I don't know if you're familiar with any of his books.
I'm not.
So his books, Do the Work and The War of Art, are some of my favorite books. But he talks about like every time the creative person goes to like create whatever the thing is they want to create, they're met with like this wall of resistance. And it's like your mind says, I want to do this. I'm hungry. I'm this. I'm that. Yeah. Like I don't want to, it just kind of basically detours you away from the actual creative process.
Right.
So have you ever met this block or this resistance? And if so, like what do you do to get over it or get past it?
This is crazy because this is actually one of the questions. The job that I was working at for 3 years on the marketing firm, my interviewer, the guy, he had asked me this question, like, what do you do for creative block? And I'm like, well, I've had that at that job, like where I'm working on a project or I'm starting a project and I cannot come up with any idea. I'm just staring at like a blank page. But what really helps me is like listening to podcasts, motivational podcasts, like recentering myself, getting out of the workspace and going like outside away from the computer. That helps a lot because you get into another mind space where, okay, I'm not here.
Right.
So let me focus outside, and usually the idea will come.
Yeah, I like that. The idea will eventually come. I didn't think about that because usually, not podcasts. I'm more of a music girl when I'm creating. It depends on what I'm creating. If I'm writing or if I'm designing, I'm more of a music girl. Okay, so you're just saying kind of wait for it to come.
Yeah, I usually just wait for it to come. I don't want to press too much, but I know especially like when you work in the industry, like you're always on like time restrictions. Right. Everything is due like the day before, and you get it like that day, but it's already due. So I definitely understand. Like, and then sometimes I wasn't able to really pursue an idea the way I wanted to. I kind of had to just let me put something together and just keep it on brand. But if you do have time where you have like an extended schedule, you can take those pauses.
Right.
So that definitely helps me out.
I like that. And I also want to offer this too. Like I keep a inspiration folder. So anytime I see a flyer or something, it's some kind of branding that hops out at me, typography, some type of imaging, anything, screenshot. So I just have a folder. So times when I draw like blanks, I'm like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing. So let me just go back through my inspiration and kind of let that, because you don't have to necessarily always reinvent the wheel. Right. Sometimes you just put your spin on something that you've seen or that inspired you. So that's another thing too, because sometimes just that blank page is daunting.
Yes. I understand what you're saying.
Yes. Here's a loaded question. It's a simple question, but a loaded question that I ask all creatives that come on the show. It's okay. It is, do you create for yourself or for others?
Oh, definitely others.
Really?
I used to create. I used to have so much time on my hands. Okay. Where I created for myself all the time. But now that I'm in like motherhood and just my overall needs and responsibilities have changed, I usually just create for others.
How does that make you feel though?
It kind of saddens me a little bit because I don't have like I used to love painting and actually drawing and being like my creative self, but now that certain responsibilities I have, so it's like that time aspect. Like it seems like it's not enough time in the entire day. Wow,
that kind of makes me sad when you said that though. 'Cause I was like, oh, but I get it. Responsibilities kick our butt sometimes. Like we just, sometimes it's a season. You just got to get in, you got to dig in and kind of like do what you got to do, and then come up for air when you need to be creative for yourself.
Yeah. Okay. I definitely need to.
So here's my last question before we get into a segment of the show. And this is called, not the segment yet, but I want to know about public opinion. When it comes to sharing your art and sharing your work, how do you feel about the public's input on your work and your designs? Not necessarily the client, but like if you post it on Facebook or you post it on social media, how do you feel about that?
At the beginning, I used to not post my work. But now I post my work all the time.
Okay.
I really don't have any fears about it because I've got to a place where, okay, what I feel that I put out, I feel like that's authentic to me.
Okay.
So, yeah, I used to be really fearful of that. Like, okay, what are people going to judge me for this? Like, is people going to think it looks good? Does it look bad? Gotcha. So I used to be really uncertain and putting myself out there, positioning myself as a graphic designer, instead of just saying, okay, well, hey, I'll make your logo, and but I think now that I'm more, I have more experience and I have more confidence within myself, I can put my work out there and be confident in it.
Good for you. I like it. Now we're going to get into this segment of the show that I like to call Dope Quotes.
Dope Quotes.
Okay.
So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to read you a quote from a dope creative, and then I'm going to ask you a question about the quote.
Okay.
Don't be nervous. You get so nervous. It's all lighthearted. So the first one, dope quote, is going to come from Albert Einstein. You know who Albert Einstein is. He once said, creativity is intelligence having fun. How true is this statement to you, and when would you say you've had the most fun as a creative?
Ooh, okay. So I do believe it is having fun.
Okay.
Now when you're under pressure, like time restraints, it can be like not fun at all. At all. You like, I'll try to pull a idea and design out my hat.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely believe it is fun. I think when you have time.
Okay.
When you have like not an abundance of time, but when you do have a space where like you're able to create. I don't know, like my desk. So like I think you have like your own creative space and working in your own creative space. So that definitely can be fun for me. Like when I do my desk, I got candles. I got like this candle right here. I got candles. I got my books, everything. So I set myself in a positive environment.
I love that. So can you remember a time where you had the most fun creating?
I remember I was working on a project with my job, my past job. And I think it was like a vehicle wrap for like a 53-foot truck.
Okay.
So I had to create like the whole design, but I think at that point I was just having fun. Like I was like, okay, let's see if they go for this.
Yeah.
So, but they actually did. So I think the times where you're like spontaneous and trying things and trying new designs, I think that's like the most fun that I've had.
I hear you, and then it's even better when it goes over well,
right?
And
exactly.
They accept it. So I love that. All right, so the next quote comes from the psalmist Guapale. I always mess her name up, but closer. She says, "I'm getting higher, closer to my dreams." End quote. How close are you, or how close do you feel to manifesting or accomplishing your current creative dream?
Okay, so I'm not where I am just yet. Okay. But I'm on the pathway to getting there.
Okay. So you feel you're in the middle?
I'm like in the middle.
Okay.
I have a place in my mind, I have a place where I envision that I am at creatively.
Okay.
So I feel like definitely right now where I'm at as far as my skill set, I'm like in the middle because I want to elevate my skills a lot more.
Okay. I want to have a follow-up question that how are you doing that? Like, how do you stay sharp on your skills and stuff like that, or learn new things?
So I love the Future Academy on YouTube. Okay. I love Roberto Blake. I think that's his name. Roberto Blake. That up. Yeah, he's a YouTube creator, but I think he does more of a different type of style than I do. But definitely listening to like Black creators, Black graphic designers, being like always in the community, that definitely helps. And then doing tutorials, classes, those definitely help like your skills. You can never learn enough. You can always learn. Yeah. I
like that. I like people that really take the industry seriously, because I'm just a student of the industry. Like, even though I occasionally graphic design now, I still do work. So it's a company that outsources work to me. Mm-hmm. But I'm always just looking at signage. I notice when restaurants rebrand. Yeah. I notice things like that. So I'm kind of always into new color waves that people are in. I'm like, oh, I like that. New so I'll screenshot that. Yeah. So I love people that are very, like, just students of the industry. And, of course, YouTube University, always.
Yeah,
you can learn anything.
Is amazing.
Yes, anything you want to learn. So I love that. So the last part of this segment, I want to know, do you have a dope quote that you can leave with us that you live by or kind of currently, that's simmering in your spirit right now?
Okay. Let's see. Oh, goodness. Okay, I got two, but I'm trying to figure out which one should I do.
You can give us both. You can give us one.
Let's see.
You just need quotes to stay motivated and inspired. Or to make us think.
I don't know why, but Maya Angelou, her quote is in my mind.
Okay.
People may not remember what you said, but they do remember what you feel. That's kind of like what they feel, right?
How you made them feel.
How you made them feel.
Yes.
Thank you.
They will remember that. I like that.
I don't know why, but that quote is definitely, I always want to treat people right, especially my clients. I operate with people first, business second, and I always feel like that motto of just caring about the customer, caring about your client, caring about their business, that will take you a lot further than just, okay, I'm just here to get the sale, do this, and I'm out.
Definitely. Before I closed out my design business, I had over 400 clients. One woman show. Like, it was wild to me when I really looked at the email I sent out to everybody. And a lot of that definitely is because I built rapport with people. So I definitely understand when you say people first, because I care about your vision. I care about you as a person and what you're trying to bring into the world as far as your branding or your marketing, things like that. So I definitely get that.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think that's important. And also, too, how you make them feel. That can go into a branding standpoint, like how your images and your graphic designs make people feel, because that's what branding really is. It's not about a logo. It's basically how somebody receives your work and how it makes them feel, because that's how we buy. That's how we
experience.
Yeah, the experience. So I love that. I think it's a great quote. So the last part of this show is just rapid fire questions.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to ask you some questions. I just ask you to answer them honestly. A few of them, how you answer, I may judge you, but it's no love lost.
That's all right.
So just answer them honestly.
Rapid fire round.
So the first question is Windows or Apple?
Wait, what?
Which one?
I didn't hear the first part.
Oh, Windows or Apple?
Windows or Apple?
Yeah.
Windows.
Windows. I may judge you. Android or iPhone?
I have an Android. I'm team Android. Okay. Sorry.
You don't have to apologize. Just be honest. First creative step in the ideation phase. Are you going pen to paper or straight to a device?
Pen to paper.
Pen to paper. Okay. Music or silence when creating?
Music.
Okay. What's on your playlist? You got something on your playlist specifically?
Mahalia.
Mahalia Jackson?
Not Mahalia Jackson. But it's an artist called Mahalia.
Mahalia? Just Mahalia? Okay,
just Mahalia.
Okay. Who is your favorite creative?
Oh, okay. Myself.
I love it. I love that answer. 3 must-have tools in your creative arsenal.
Oh, okay. Let me see how to answer this. Good fonts.
Okay.
Let's say good fonts. Dang. Why is it so, like, not coming
Just
to me?
Just 3 must-have. You take your time.
Goodness. Let's say Photoshop and Illustrator.
Photoshop, Illustrator, and good fonts. I love it. Favorite creativity enhancing snack? What you eating while you creating?
I don't eat.
Okay. I hear that a lot. I heard that a lot.
I don't know why. Now that I'm thinking about it, I don't really eat during.
That is a very common answer, actually.
Wow.
People are either staying hydrated, or some people say coffee, but usually it's some type of beverage and not necessarily food.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I mostly drink, like, water or something, but don't eat.
That's very interesting. What is the best advice you've ever received concerning your creativity, and who did it come from, if you want to share that part?
Oh, wow. I think one of my teachers, one of my professors when I was in school, she always would say, everything shouldn't be bigger. If you think it's bigger, it needs to be smaller.
What she meant by that?
As far as like typography, as far as like content building, like for design fundamentals, just looking at an overall piece, because I would just go crazy with my type, and she's like, you need to bring it in.
Gotcha.
I don't know that, but that really did help me as far as like creating, just in my creative industry, creative passion, bringing everything in, and it kind of made my designs a lot better.
Yeah, and I think you learn in design too when you start talking about just the skill of it. That the big thing is only the thing that people are gonna, the most important thing, and then you start scaling down.
She's like, everything doesn't have to be so big.
Yeah, I get it though. But when you're new, you're kind of like, I know how to do this. Yeah, all this here and then here, and that's what it looks like. Yeah, and then the eye doesn't know where to go.
Exactly.
So I love that. That's a good piece of advice. And the final question is, what do you want your creative legacy to be?
Oh, wow. For me, I want my creative legacy to be just like for my daughter, for other young women, that being Black and then being a Black woman in the creative field, in graphic design specifically, is something that's very attainable.
I love it.
Yeah, very attainable.
Thank you. Well, I appreciate you coming on By Black Design. I have really loved just experiencing you in the flesh, because, you know, like I said, we met virtually, so this has been very cool. Let the people know how they can contact you or get in contact with you or where you are on the internet.
Okay, awesome. I would like to do a quick shout out.
Okay.
I'm a creative strategist for the Beauty Bee Agency. Look us up on Instagram.
Okay.
On Facebook. We're a team of creative collaborating women, Black women at that.
Well, I need to talk to the rest of y'all. This is the first time I'm hearing this.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just started actually.
Okay.
But definitely, I was Mocha and Amber. Definitely, if you want to invite them, this is an open invitation for y'all. So definitely come. I'm not sure, like, we gonna talk about it.
Okay.
But you can also find me on LWB Design Studio on Instagram and my website lwbdesignstudio.com.
All right, and there you have it. Thank you.
Thank you so much.